Well, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Mark Contra here at the Messer Financial Office. Thank you for your patience this morning. Had a couple of little glitches, but as you can see on the screen, our presentation is there. And with us this morning, we have Charlene Thardelson. She is, as it indicates, a sales development specialist with North American. We've got a great program to present to you this morning, something you can go back out in the field with some comfort and present to your clients. Just a couple of housekeeping notes. If you haven't already, please put your phone on mute. We think we have them muted, but sometimes something will sneak in. You'll also notice on the side panel to the right, there's a place for you to type in any questions. We'll ask that during the presentation you do that, and we'll go ahead and address those questions when we get to the end. Also, we'd like to ask you all to please stay on until the very end, not only for the question review, but to have the opportunity to receive a bonus that would be available with the sales of products through North American. So with that in mind, it's my great opportunity once again, Charlene's been with us many times, to turn the information and package over to her. Good morning, Charlene.
Good morning, Mark, and good morning, everyone. Again, apologize for the technical difficulties we had here in getting started, but glad that you stuck with us. I think it gave a few people a few extra minutes to get logged in. Maybe grab that cup of coffee as we start our Wednesday, right? We're at Wednesday already. So, yeah, today I'm just going to be going over income protection. It's really a basic sales concept. It's something that we all need a reminder of from time to time, and it's really a great way to add on a life sale to another type of insurance sale or whatever you're already helping your clients with. And I know that there's a lot of you out there that do health insurance, so this is a great way to kind of just make sure that you're touching on income protection, and it's a great way for you to fulfill their life insurance needs as well, since you're already taking care of them in other ways in their whether it's insurance or financial situation. So these could be opportunities that you might just not be talking about and passing up. And so it's really just a quick refresher. We've got a few tools to help you with as well. So with that, let's go ahead and take it away here. And I will provide a copy of this presentation to Mark at Messer, so that if you do want to have a copy of it, you certainly can request it. So oblivious. Let's just start here. You know, sometimes people are oblivious to even the most obvious things around them, and agents too can fail to recognize some of the most obvious sales opportunities, kind of like I was just explaining. I also already said to you that income replacement is not a new sales concept, but it is one that is most often overlooked. And really, it's one of the most basic needs for life insurance is to protect that income. So today we're really just trying to remind you not to overlook or miss this opportunity. So let's just lay out the agenda for what we're going to cover today. First of all, we're going to just cover the need for income replacement. Then we're going to go through an analysis of the different ways to identify what amount of death benefit is needed to actually protect their income. And then as we wrap up the presentation, there'll be some different product solutions that we'll touch on. And not necessarily that they're specific to North American, but kind of talking about the difference between term and a GUL as a solution for this income replacement. So with that, let's go ahead and we're going to just start with the need. And this is kind of really the part where it can, I think, just kind of tugs at your client's heartstrings when you kind of paint this picture. So when you're sitting down with your clients and you're covering all of the other great services that you're helping them with, ask your clients to imagine, you know, just for a minute, Mr. Client, just imagine if something were to happen and your spouse were not here tomorrow, how comfortable would they be financially? Could they pay the bills, for the following month? What about for the next year? Would it affect their ability to retire? And in what way might it impact their kids? Those are all questions that people tend to think it's not going to happen to me. I mean, it's not going to happen tomorrow, but the truth is nobody knows when it's going to happen. And it's better to be prepared for it as if it were going to happen tomorrow instead of being unprepared for it. So thinking about that lost income of a spouse, it can really be a worry for families. And so, you're just giving them the opportunity to think about this and plan for it now to take care of that worry. Some examples of, thinking about what are some examples of the bills or the costs that may be a challenge for them to meet with a reduced income. Could it be even the basics like utilities and food? What about child care? And even if this was a stay-at-home parent that was caring for the children, well, now in order for the other spouse to continue working, now you need to add child care. And what about education expenses? What plans or hopes did those parents have for sending their children to college and helping pay for that? Is that now gone away because of the lost income? Could be housing. Think about this one always hits me really close to the heart is, when you lose a spouse and now you're not able to pay for the mortgage and you've got young kids, is this really when you want to sell and then have to downsize or even maybe move into an apartment or something? Your kids have been used to running in the backyard and playing with neighbors down the street, and now, they have to move, and maybe it's even moving closer to other relatives. So maybe it's even uprooting them from the city, the neighborhood that they called home. So it's really having an open and frank discussion about some of this, and feeling it hit their heart a little bit. So some other expenses to think about are going to be some of the debt that they have or that they incur in those final days, those final expense costs. And so really, again, we're just talking about income replacement here and all the things that it can affect in a day-to-day life. So there's a couple different ways that you can sit down and analyze this with your clients. It could be a percentage of their income. It could be based on what their budget is. There are different fact finders out there that you can use. Some of them are on our website. I'm sure Messer has access to some. There's a great website, and maybe some of you already know about it, but lifehappens.org or even LIMRA. If you go out to their websites, there's a lot of great tools out there to use as well. Or it could just be an identified specific dollar amount that they're going to need. So let's take a look at some of this. And at the end here, I'm going to flip to another resource that we have for you too, and I'll share that with Mark as a link for you as well. But we've got even just a one-page income replacement grid. Kind of looks at, actually it's on this next page. Let me show you real quick. I know this is kind of small to see at this point, but basically across the top, you've got the number of years that you need to provide the income. So is it just 5 more years, 10, 15, or is there 50 years, that you need to continue this income? And then down the left-hand side says what is their annual income. It starts off at $18,000 and ends at $120,000 a year. So what you would do is, so let's say they're a $60,000 earner. I think I'm right here, $60,000, and they need to protect that income for the next 20 years. Right over here, you're just over $1 million of coverage is what they need. So taking into consideration what other coverage they already have in place, maybe there's an opportunity there to get them another policy for another $500,000, $750,000, depending on what they already have in place. So it can be as easy as kind of using a grid here. But let's go back. I talked about that there's other life insurance needs calculators out there, including in the North American software and, like I said, on various websites. We offer InsMark free with our software, and that's just an extra software that can work in conjunction with North American software, and that tool has some tools that you can use. So the most important thing is it doesn't really matter which one of those tools you use. It just matters that you find the one that you're most comfortable and familiar with and that resonates the best with your clients. All right, so there was that grid, and I'll share a copy of this grid with Mark too. So if you'd like a copy of that, it's just a one-page PDF. You can go ahead and request that, or maybe he's got a planned follow-up email, I'm not sure. Here's an example of kind of a basic needs calculator, you know, and running through this with your clients or sending it with them before your appointment or after, or you know, at the conclusion of your appointment, and asking them to set another time to come back to visit specifically about this would be great. And again, there's some basic talking points, and it really just makes them start thinking, you know, what if one of us weren't here tomorrow? How would the other one continue? All right. And we talked about that there's, you know, you can find numerous other worksheets and tools on the web. So go ahead and explore until you find the one that you like best. As far as an underwriting perspective, this actually is straight out of our underwriting guide, the North American Underwriting Guide, that you take a multiple of how many times the income that they need to protect based on their current age. So obviously as they get older, the years until they retire is getting shorter, and that's why the multiple of income is getting lower. So this typically, from an underwriting standpoint, this is what we're going to be able to financially justify. Of course, there's other factors, and it might be able to, you know, approve a higher amount or a lower amount. They're going to look at all of that, but here's just the basic multiples of their income. So let's just talk real quick about a couple of solutions, and you know, in its basic, you know, non-North American, we're talking term or a universal life policy. So let me just explain not that you need explaining of the basic differences, but just some advantages of why you might choose one over the other. Well, obviously term is going to be the lowest cost, and you can see here that we have different durations, whether it's 10, 15, 20, or 30 year. And so it's a great low-cost solution. And because of the different durations there, you know, whether you're matching a 30-year mortgage or that they have 20 years left to work that they need to protect the income, you know, you can match the length of time to the term product to provide that income replacement protection. The great thing about our term product is that it is convertible. So even if they only planned on having it for the 20 years, as long as they're still in the convertible age requirements, which in these situations, these people are going to typically be younger, but they can convert it all the way through age 69 or 74, depending on their issue age. So a great opportunity that even if you did set them up with a term policy and later they decided that they wanted to have a policy that they couldn't outlive, you could convert it. And so you set them up with a great option. Not only was it low cost, but it has a great conversion option that lets them go to any one of our other products. So so that's a great way, and that's pretty simple too, I think, for somebody who's not selling life insurance day in and day out, is that it's a commodity product. You know, here's the length of time, here's the amount of coverage, and here's the price. You either pay it monthly, quarterly, semi-annual, or annually. It's just like paying one of your utility bills, a very important utility bill because it's going to protect your income. So let's now kind of look one step further is universal life. You know, this is for maybe somebody who's already thinking that they don't want to outlive it, and that they might actually need that protection longer than those 20 or 30 years. So there's several products that we have that will work for that and out in the market. One of the basic ones that you're going to find, which is really kind of an extension of term, is called Guaranteed UL. And so we have a product, it's called our Custom Guarantee. It doesn't build any cash value, so in that way it's like a term and not really like a UL. But what makes it, why it sits on the UL side, is because it goes out longer than that 20 or 30 year term. You can guarantee the coverage all the way out to 120. The furthest you're going to pay premiums is to age 100 because there's no cost of insurance or premiums after age 100, and it automatically goes to 120. So for the sake of those people that are living longer, I mean, they're not going to outlive it. In addition, you know, there's more flexibility in those products so that even if they do keep a certain amount, they start off with a certain amount and then they retire, and they feel like they don't need as much insurance, they can reduce their amount of coverage. So there's more flexibility there than in a term. And depending on if they choose a product, a UL product that builds cash value, there actually could be a point where they either overfund it, build up more cash value, they could have good returns, interest crediting from the IUL. So there could be an opportunity where it builds cash value, and they might be able to access those funds for money they might need for expenses. And if they've overfunded it enough, it could turn into a way to help pay for college or supplement their retirement. So a ton more flexibility with that, but of course a higher premium. And so another great benefit of having the universal life, the permanent policy, is that accelerated death benefits are included there. So you're going to have, besides the terminal illness, you're going to have the chronic illness, which triggers a lot like a long-term care as far as the 6 activities of daily living. And so their term policy wouldn't have that, but this way, if it's a policy that doesn't have cash value and they don't have other means to help pay for those chronic illnesses when they're unable to perform 2 of the 6 activities of daily living, they can actually accelerate a portion of their death benefit for their living needs. So it has much more to offer them while they're living rather than just waiting to be a death benefit. And so you just need to find the right, solution for your client. And like the last bullet here says, it even could be a combination of the 2. Maybe they like the idea of the cash buildup, but rather if they do truly need that $1 million, maybe they want to take $750 of it in term and then $250 of it in permanent. So there can be a combination mix there. That would be 2 policies with North American. We do not have a term rider on our permanent products. Showing you the grid here again because we actually do have a kit for each of the sales concepts that North American promotes. It happens to be about 13. We have a folder or a kit that in one side of the folder it has materials for you as the agent, and on the other side of the folder it has materials for you to share with your client. And they can be worksheets. It can be an explanation of the concept, kind of cliff notes of what we went through today, so that you can kind of your client can understand what you're trying to talk to them about. And I want to show you this other website that I have. So let me break out of here for a second. Let's see. I got this on my other screen here. I just got to bring it over for you to see. So this is the website link that I'm going to share with Mark, and it's available to all of you that are in attendance today. It doesn't require a username or password. I happen to be on the sales concept page, so this is where it has all 13 of our concepts out here. But income protection is the one we just covered, so let me just click on that and just show you the pieces that go along with it. Many of them, this one not particularly, a lot of them have a video right here that you could click and listen to the video. It's probably about 2 minutes for you as the agent. And then right below that on some of the other ones, it'll let you go to our YouTube channel where there's a consumer video. So those would be great to share with your clients too. So this just breaks it down for you as the agent as far as your client profile, some helpful tips. As far as that income protection grid, there's a link here, but it's also right over here on the right-hand side. And then these are the pieces, as I was telling you, that there's a kit. So they're all available for you here electronically. If you'd prefer to have the 2-pocket folder that I explained, these would be the pieces that are in here. So you got the marketing guide for you as the agent, the client brochure, This would be something you could share with the client. A case flyer, this is for you as the agent, kind of gives a case study, the agent checklist, and then the client worksheet. So I was saying that there's pieces for both you and for your client. And so whether you share that with them when you're meeting with them, or at the end of taking care of their other health insurance needs or whatever you're helping them with, maybe you say, I'd like you to take this home and think about this. Let's set up another appointment in 2 weeks and have you come back, and we'll make sure that we've got your income protection. So I just wanted to share that with you, and there's a lot of other great tools and resources for you on this website by moving to any of these other pages. All right, so let me bring my presentation back up. Oh, I knew that was going to happen. So I think just to wrap it up here, just recapping what we covered, we just explained the basic need, and it's really painting that picture, how no matter how difficult that is and how nobody wants to think about it, you don't want to leave your family unprotected. And so really asking your clients to think about how long could they really sustain their lifestyle today or tomorrow and into the future if something were to happen to one of the income earners in their house. We went through the different, talked briefly, I guess, about the different ways that you can analyze how much coverage they need. We showed you some of the tools that we have to help you with that, and also recommended that you explore the internet and find which one works best for you. And make sure that you're not answering those questions for your client. You're asking the questions, and then you're getting them to respond. You might have to make some recommendations in sometimes because they might not, actually know, what kind of dollar amount they should be thinking about for something that you're asking. And then as far as the solutions, really term is going to be the best low-cost solution, but you kind of think out into the future. So maybe it would be getting those accelerated benefits on the permanent, but know that at least if you're selling a North American term policy, you're going to have the ability to convert them later. And converting them means that they keep their same underwriting rate class as they got 10 or 20 years ago when they first got their term policy. The new policy just starts with their current age. So that really can help them in the future, that they won't have to go through underwriting again when maybe they're not they're in worse health condition. So it makes it affordable and an exit strategy for them. All right. So the bottom line, what does this do for your client? Well, they're really getting protection for pennies on the dollar, especially with term. It's a customized solution. So whether it's term or UL or a combination of the two with additional benefits, and it really provides them that peace of mind right now, because we don't know if it's tomorrow, next year, 10 years from now, gets the protection in place before they need it. You as the agent, well, you've got another satisfied client. Matter of fact, you're probably already taking care of them otherwise, so why not be their go-to solution for their life insurance as well? Adding additional sales to your book, and also look at the opportunity for other referrals. Maybe they've got friends, neighbors, relatives that then they'll refer you to, just to make sure that they too are protected for for the worst thing that could happen in their lives. So like I said at the beginning, it's not new, but it is overlooked. And so try to make that commitment to yourself to not forget these opportunities, and to talk to each and every one of your clients about it. And with that, I'm going to turn it back to you, Mark, and let's see if there's any questions out there or your closing remarks.
Thank you very much again, Charlene. And it's always a pleasure working with Charlene. I'll touch on that in just a moment. If we look at where we started today, and we talked about the very basic fact of income replacement, I think many times as agents, and most importantly, the newer you are, the more nervous you are about what you're doing and how you're going to accomplish it. So when you start with that basic fact and you know that you have an income replacement, and then you have a way to analyze it, what it does is it brings us to the central point as salespeople. Our responsibility is to, number one, identify there's a problem. Number two, allow that client then to confirm that that problem exists. And after you've got the confirmation that it does exist, it's then our responsibility to offer them a solution. So we've taken the steps today to assist you in number one, identifying there's a problem, going further with that and talking with that client, getting that confirmation, and then going forward and offering the solution. I think that tool for the income replacement grid that you can place if you're presenting or making your own little sales kit is pretty much a must-have item as a reference. And then I also think that using that underwriter grid and guide to show the multiples. It's not that long ago, ladies and gentlemen, that the thought out there was, well, what do I need in insurance? Well, I need 10 times income. Look at where we've come to. On that particular grid, 10 times income is an effective form for someone between the ages of 60 and 70 years old. And yet there's still a lot of agents out there preaching 10 times income. So you need to take advantage of that. You have solutions to offer in the products that North American provides to you. And most importantly, when you become an appointed agent, you're going to have access to that website. And there's just, I can't tell you how much is there besides just product and brochures. I mean, they also have a backdrop of all the webinars that they have available. So if I'm not feeding you enough information fast enough and you're looking for knowledge, once you become appointed, you've got an opportunity to get on there and take a look and get some other answers, get ahead of the curve. And yes, the brochures are available for you in a PDF format, so it's very simple for you to get those things downloaded and have them available. And as I said, the joy that I have working with Charlene in North America is just as I talk about us as salespeople, identifying a problem, recognizing it, and offering a solution, that's really what they're doing with us. That's what they're helping you with as an agent. They're helping you identify the problem. They are allowing it to sink in, and then they're offering the tools and the expertise to assist you in building that clientele. And of course, with that clientele, there's no stopping when you learn how to do your referral business. So back to the beginning, you got to get contracted. And you'll see on the webinar today the link that'll get you over to our contracting tool if you have not already become appointed. So we need to do that. Also, some of the questions we've had are basic that are asking us to send them information, and that will be taking place. I think one of the questions that came up later wanted to know if there were brochures on some of the more permanent products. And absolutely. Again, you've got a university of information available to you. And then they want to know how to go to the website and show this stuff. So again, get yourself contracted so that you'll be able to do that. A question did come up on convertibility. Let's see how in-depth it is so we can address it, Charlene.
Sure.
Is there a specific product offered to convert to, or are all North American products available for conversion purposes?
That is a great question. And I know where the question comes from because so many times other carriers say, yeah, you can convert it, but it's this prize product over here on the shelf, and it's not such a prize product. So yes, you heard me correctly. When you convert, you can go to any of our current products that are currently available. So that's a cash value accumulation product. It's our GUL product where there's no cash and just the permanent. So we've got 3 IUL products and we've got our GUL product. The only one that you can't convert to that we have on our portfolio is our survivorship, and that's because it's 2 lives. We don't allow 2 single term policies to be converted to a survivorship. So That's the only exception, and it's because it's one life versus two. So you've got wide open opportunity, and that is a key differentiator for North American. You won't find that with all of the other term products out there, and that's an important reminder when it comes down to cost. Sometimes, it could be pennies, cents, less than $1 difference in the premium, and your client or you might be looking at this product over here, but for $1 more, you could have the North American product that's going to give you much more flexibility for converting your product in the future. So it's well worth it. Great question. What else do we have out there, Mark?
Thank you very much. Probably one that's a little bit outside of your scope here. They are asking if we have an approximate time it would take to get appointed. I'm just going to wing it here and say our normal turnover time is in about 2 weeks, unless you have something outstanding out there.
Yep, I would agree with that. About 10 to 14 days. Yep.
Okay. And of course, this one's coming up already, and somebody's out there jumping all over the future, but they want to know if North American offers an indexed equity. Well, they asked about annuity. First of all, I think we need to address the question, do you offer an indexed UL?
Absolutely. Let's go back over here to where I was showing you the concepts. Right here is our product page. Is my screen still showing, Mark?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Looking good.
Okay. So right here, this is our product lineup. We've got IUL, and our IUL is some of the most competitive out there. And it's not, you don't just compare one IUL to another IUL for, you got to really dig and understand the products and some of the benefits and buried gems that are inside that product. And that's what Mark and I can help you with as far as really understanding what the difference is between our IUL and another carrier's IUL. So there's some great benefits in there. But our Builder IUL by far is the strongest for building cash value. Guarantee Builder, do you want to have a guaranteed death benefit, but you also want to have the opportunity to build cash value? This is a product for you. The Builder IUL is predominantly used for retirement income, supplementing retirement income, a tax-free way. Rapid Builder, it is, as the name implies, it builds the cash more rapidly early on. So there are certain situations where this might be the brighter product if you're only funding it for a short period of time or only taking money out for a short period of time. It's also the niche product that goes with our smart money concept. And I'm not going to go into smart money now, but I will refer you to where that is on our product page. Then we have our custom guarantee, which was that guaranteed UL with no cash in it. So it's really like a term for life kind of product, if you will. And then our term. So yeah, we have some of the strongest IUL products in the industry. We're one of the fastest growing insurance companies in the industry in recent years. And we've been in business for 130 years. This year we're celebrating our 130th anniversary. So we would welcome to for you to join us. Come on board. We're here to support you for another 130 years. Me, myself, not quite. But anyway, we're here for the long haul. So those sales concepts, let's go flip back to this page. We talked about income protection, but look at this. Annuity Max, buy-sell agreement as a business solution, executive bonus, and key person also as business solutions, client review, college funding, estate planning, legacy building, longevity planning, pension max, retirement planning. This is a great one. And then here's our smart money. This is kind of a wealth transfer, single premium for people that have a large sum of money kind of sitting in a savings account and how they could leverage it into more. And so like Mark was saying, we have a wealth of webinars that we offer as a company too. We haven't updated these with our March ones yet, but our live ones are listed at the top. And then there's about a dozen of recorded webinars on this page. So a lot of great information on this site for you.
And again, thank you very much, Charlene. And again,
you're welcome.
The question that did come in though too, and I don't know if the agent was getting a little ahead of himself or not, but it was regarding equity indexed annuities.
Yeah.
And
So I represent the life side. So I'm
Mhm.
talking about just our life products. But yes, the annuity division of North American, yes, they have equity index. Yep.
And just again, for agents, if you're familiar with us already with Messer, or if you're not, we would certainly hope that we're offering you enough reasons why you would consider bringing a contract through to us. We have a wonderful, easy quoting tool on our website that will help you with your basic life quotes for term. There's a very simple portion of it that helps you with a guaranteed UL. It's not going to run you an illustration, but what it's going to do is it's going to show you what the costs are going to be for that specific client under the ratings that you attain. I'm going to step away, and maybe I shouldn't say it, but I'm going to tell you the truth. When I work with the Guaranteed UL product, I work exclusively with North American. You go ahead and go on our website and you run a quote, and you're going to see a lot of things going on there. And one of the most common things is the age that other companies are going to cut that UL off at. And the reason that I like to work with North American is they're always right in the mix. The price is always right there. And as she said earlier, and it might have gone over some people's heads, when you pay on their product to age 100, you're guaranteed that death benefit to age 120. You're not buying that benefit, as you'll see, again, when you run the quote. So get a little familiar with it, and you'll see, again, why there's so many reasons that I enjoy working with North American. I think you're seeing more and more of it, and I think you're going to see more and more webinars that we're going to have Charlene come back and do because of this. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Very interesting index problem. Oh, a question, do you need to be licensed to sell an index universal life? And I think what they're referring to is not the insurance license, but do they need to be series licensed?
Yeah, that's a great question. Actually, you don't. And here's the reason why, is you're not actually in the market. An index product, we are based on the index that your client chooses that they want their money allocated to. It's the growth of that mark or of that index. Whatever the growth is determines what interest rate we're going to apply. So you're not actually in the market. We buy options. And so, no, you don't have to be securities licensed. We at North American, we do have an IUL certification test that you need to complete before your first policy will be issued. So it doesn't necessarily have to be completed before you sell the product and take the application, although that might be helpful. But you do need to get it completed before we'll actually issue the policy. So after underwriting is completed. And it's I think it's a 5-module, it's online, so you have to be contracted because it's linked to your agent number, and then you'll go through the 5 modules, and then you'll take a 25-question quiz, basically, and it's no fail. So if the multiple choice is A, B, C, or D, and I mean, you got 4 chances to get it right because we're not going to let you move on until all of the questions have been answered correctly. So, and it's pretty basic, pretty self-explanatory. You read the information, you're going to be able to answer those questions.
And thank you, Charlene. And I'm going to piggyback off of that because the sensitivity of that type of a product and the market that you bring that out into adds an additional responsibility to you as an agent to really understand what you're selling your client. And I don't feel that any company that's doing business the right way would not require you to have some type of certification with them to introduce that product to your client. And I think you'll find that that's a statement that, again, is going to be made by any company that's doing the right thing for the consumer. So, again, thank you very much, Charlene.
And to add on to that, Mark, you know, I mean, we can talk about this offline, but it seems like there's probably an interest there for IUL. So we can definitely think about a future session where we just go over understanding IUL. I mean, if you can understand the basics, that will just help you when you're discussing it with your clients.
And actually, that's interesting you say that because in my notes as I go further with With the many Wednesdays ahead in time, we're trying to give every one of the carriers an opportunity to kind of tweak your interest. But I do have the demystifying the indexed UL in my pattern going forward. So you're going to hear that from, and that is the product, ladies and gentlemen, that's offered to us by North American.
Yep. So I'll be back as long as you invite me, and if everybody's enjoying the content, so that's great.
Yeah, we certainly are. All right, now we're going to get into some schematics here, and I don't know if we have enough time to really address the question, but let me throw it out there. And the question came in is that I've heard that the index UL are inferior to a whole life policy because they can't give you a guarantee on that index product. Further, he states, I heard it was inferior to whole life because it's not guaranteed. It's kind of repetitive and is convertible at additional costs. There's a whole bunch of stuff coming in here.
Well, let me just speak to a little bit of that. I don't know that we maybe can cover all of that. That might have to be a side conversation that we have, but we do not have a whole life, but a whole life, we do, what I would say is our best competitor to a whole life policy would be that Guarantee Builder IUL that I spoke of, where you can have a guaranteed death benefit, and there is a guaranteed interest rate, but you also have all the upside potential that depending on what the index does, you could earn a much higher interest rate than the whole life could give you, potentially. You know, of course, it depends on what the index does. But even though, and this is a little bit of an intro on the IUL. On an IUL, we have a floor and we have a cap on what we're going to credit for your interest rate. So if the index actually experiences a loss, let's say a 5% loss, your client does not also experience a 5% loss. That's where our floor of 0 protects them. So instead of them having a 5% loss, the floor of 0 comes into play and just nothing is credited that year. And then likewise, we have a cap. So if the index returns 15%, the client doesn't get to participate in all of that. Each of our indices have a cap right around 12.5%. So if it returned 15, they would get 12.5 of that because it would be capped out there. So to speak about what is guaranteed for an interest rate, so the only thing that's guaranteed is 0 when you think about the floor and the cap like that. And then we do have a guaranteed interest rate bonus that, like on the builder, comes into play in year 11, and that's 75 basis points. So if we're out past year 11, well, really, 0 is no longer part of the equation. Now we have, even if there is a 5% loss, you're going to get 0, but then the interest rate bonus goes on top of that, and now that's 75 basis points that are credited to your client. But there's another guarantee in the product, and this is one of those differentiators that you're not going to see in all the other IUL products. We have a 3% true-up guarantee. 3% is what's guaranteed if your client were to put their money into the fixed account. But if they're in the fixed account, then they don't have that upside potential if the index does well. So how our product is written and the guarantee that's there says, if you would have been better off putting your money into the fixed account where you would have gotten the 3% guarantee, well then guess what? We're going to make that right, and it's built into our contract that we're going to check that every 8 years throughout the life of the policy. So if the client was averaging a return of 2, or even let's just say it was 0 for all, it was a loss and they got 0 for the first 8 years, well then yeah, they would have been better off in the fixed account where they would have been guaranteed 3. So we're running that calculation simultaneously throughout the life of the policy, and when we get to year 8, we're going to look at that and say, oh, they would have been better off in the fixed account. So we're going to true it up as if it were in the fixed account and give them that 3% return. That's a guarantee. And we're going to do that every 8 years, and we're also going to do it at other times when the policy is either in danger of lapsing. We'll check that and true that up if we need to. At the time of death, if they have an increasing death benefit, because that could change the amount that's added to the death benefit, and also at the time of surrender. So if you've got a whole life product, that you want to look at beating or comparing to, I would recommend the Guarantee Builder. And whether you work with Mark or myself, let us know and we can kind of work through that so that you can see what the difference is and how we can compete there.
Excellent. Thank you very, very much, Charlene. That's a lot of stuff to get through and might not have sank into everyone, but again, too, remember, everything we're doing here today is being recorded. It will go up on the Messer website in our Learning Center. So if you need to just kind of digest that a little bit further, a little slower, it'll be there for you. And let's see what else we've got. I think we talked about convertibility. And then up came the question, and if you use the Messer website, and the question is regarding do we have e-apps, and you use our little quoting tool, you're going to find the simplicity of attaining the quote, and you'll have the option to click on Forms or click on e-app. And to the best of my knowledge, Charlene, you're one of the few carriers that actually is doing e-apps on ULs, aren't you?
Yep, exactly. We've had the electronic app for maybe it's been a year or half a year, and now just I think earlier this year we added it to our UL and IUL. So yeah, it's an electronic application. You're going to gather all of this information from your client. It's going to you're going to just answer questions on the website. It's going to fill it in on an application on the back end. It's going to take you through the process where you're going to schedule the paramed exam for them. And because it doesn't let you lock up the app and submit it until all of the required questions are completed, it really helps with our processing time and making sure that our applications are coming in good order. Because you won't believe how many times when people are taking a paper application that we get asked, so what exactly on this application needs to be completed? Well, everything. There's a few spots where, you know, if yes, you have to fill it in, but if no, you can skip a few, you know, on the paper app. But I mean, so it really helps with that, streamline it, allows you to get the signature from the client 3 different ways. If you're taking it on a tablet, they can finger sign it right on your tablet. The most common, I would say, is probably to sign it at the paramed exam, but you also can do it through email.
Excellent. Thank you very much again. And we're also getting additional questions about having emails of information that we've talked about being sent out. Again, Charlene is going to send me a couple of PDFs today. I'm going to make those available to our team. Our team will be responding to you individually and getting that information back out to you so you have the tools that you need to go forward. And I think last but not least, as I mentioned, and for the 31 of you or so that are still out there from the very beginning, the bonus that's going to be available is only available to those that were registered and on the webinar versus those that registered and unfortunately couldn't be with us today. Again, if you will bring us a sale of a product of North American within the next 30 days that we can process and issue within the next 60 days, Messer Financial will enhance your commission with a $100 incentive bonus.
That's
Charlene,
great,
again,
Mark.
yeah, it's just a little bit more because we really want you guys to get out there and get your feet into this and get a little dirty and get it done. So once again, Charlene, again, thank you so much for all the information and, again, the professional presentation that you always bring us. And guys and gals, we'll see you next Wednesday morning at 9 o'clock. Thank you.
Thanks. Have a great week.